Um, Up next, we'll have our last session of the day with another one of TikTok stars, Langer Lee, who we will be walking us through TikTok gaming. Welcome, Langer. Sorry.
Test. Hello, hello. Oh, there we go. You guys can hear me fine, right? Great. So I'm standing in between the happy hour, right? So I'll try to make this session as fun as possible, right? And I do know that there's some familiar faces in the crowd too, so really excited to be here, right? So just walking through very quickly, my name is Langer, right? And I'm part of the TikTok gaming team. So what I currently oversee is all of our partnerships as well as our creator partnerships. And essentially what we're trying to do here is to kind of rethink about how are we positioning gaming within TikTok, right? And that's why I kind of quite excited to kind of share with you some of the products, features that we have for both live and short form video and gaming. Right, so I think for most of us who have been already familiar with TikTok, gaming has been a significant part of our gaming ecosystem, or part of ecosystem. Since June this year, I'm really, really excited to share that we now have a fully dedicated product and operations team that is dedicated to growing this particular vertical, right? We are also the only content vertical that focuses our resources on making sure that we have our own creator management, right, own business development, own product teams, and the only content vertical that fundamentally operates for both live and short form video together, right? So this is quite novel in terms of how our company operates. So we're learning a lot of things in the process as well. So looking forward to your feedback as well, right? So I think one of the important things I take note is like the three key stakeholders that matter to us are our users, our publishers, gaming publishers, and our platform partners there, as well as our creators, right? And you hear me talk about these three stakeholder groups quite frequently, right? So I do think that when we look at how do we address these stakeholder groups, you see specific products as well as operations and thinking around these stakeholder groups, right? So as part of like the content team, right? So we are looking primarily at the content supply in the ecosystem. Together alongside with our global gaming business solutions team, right? It looks at the ads as well as the solutions for monetization for our publishers. We think that we can actually take gaming on TikTok to the next level, right? So for some of the partners that are here today, I hope through the sharing, we can kind of give you some inspiration and for us to kind of brainstorm together on new ways that we can work together to help take your content to new gaming audiences, right? So that said, let's begin very quickly. Let's start off by talking about who are we, right? So what's TikTok gaming? So for us, TikTok gaming, our mission is quite clear. Right? We want to connect gaming creators and communities through the concept of playing together, right? To make TikTok the second screen for gamers, right? So to put it simply, we're building towards a world where TikTok is the connective tissue between users, creators, and publishers around the games that they love, right, to play. So for our stakeholder groups, right? So what that means for our users is that TikTok gaming is an immersive gaming hub with rich content and interactive experiences. So you can find anything that you want to play there, right? And for our gaming creators, TikTok gaming is a community, right? That fosters fandom, collaboration, and revenue generation for our creators. And last but not least, for game publishers, TikTok gaming is a gaming content platform to engage new and existing players. We are also a partner that co-builds, right, communities and co-develop creators for business success. So when we think about how TikTok gaming has been growing, right, some points that I can definitely share here is that we have been growing the size of the market as well as taking market share from other platforms as fans are kind of looking for new ways to interact with their favorite games, right? So in 2023 alone, the daily gaming short video viewers have grown about 50%, right? And in terms of hours watched, there are a total of like 16.6 billion hours of video gaming content, right? So to put things in perspective, that's on average like 45 million hours a day, right? And on average, we have about 100 million gaming videos published each month on TikTok alone, right? And with regards to live, right? So gaming videos on live, or with regards to daily gaming live watch duration, we have grown about 164% in 2023 alone. So when we think about industry relevance and where we kind of stand, we have kind of like a similar amount of daily gaming video viewers when placed side by side with the red short form video competitor, right? And they had pretty much like a gaming focus much earlier than we do. So I do think that it's quite important to just take note that we are actually growing this vertical quite strongly. And when we compare ourselves to the purple leading live streaming competitor, we have more gaming live viewers right now, right? And when we think about it, right, we actually are the largest gaming community in the world with more than 70 million people on TikTok who watch live gaming video content every day, right? Compared to the 34 million from our friends in purple, right? So this is just perspective on where things are at for us. When we think about like scale, right? Like how does this essentially, why is this growing so quickly, right? And one thing that we've noted is that when we think about content, users interfacing with our content, 82% of TikTok users play games at least once a week, right? And 75% of those same users that play games on TikTok, play games and on the platform are actually discovering new gaming content on TikTok, right? And for me, I definitely discover a lot of new games myself when I'm scrolling TikTok every day. And I do think that that's quite a common trend that we are seeing as well. Now, this is very helpful to know, but where's the impact in all of this, right? I think publishers who are in the audience today as well will be happy to know that 41% of users that actually look at a gaming content, right, they actually download the game, right? And 36% of them actually have a purchase action, right? So it could be in either in-app purchase, right, or a download or retail, right, a retail purchase. That said, there is still a huge room for growth on the platform, right? And especially when it comes to gaming, because what we've noticed is that the needs for gaming content right now, right, is currently not met by the huge demand, right? The current lack of supply right now, right? So we think that this is a fantastic opportunity for everyone, just because that this is the right time to kind of serve that demand, right, for our users. So, happy to kind of speak to the partners here in the room a little bit more about how we can actually work towards increasing content supply. Now, it's in terms of what we are offering, right? Quite simple, right? So I would kind of like talk about themes, right? So the themes here would primarily be around entertainment-forward gaming content, as well as interactive experiences and community, right? These are the four currently available, I'd say, like key features that we have right now on the platform. Just to walk through very quickly, right? We want to see TikTok gaming as like the one-stop destination, right, for gaming content. So when we talk about entertainment-forward gaming content for short videos, it's not just about gameplay, right? It's really more about how there is a point of view, right, to these videos, right? So, instead of just looking at gameplay alone, which can get very repetitive and boring very quickly if you're not skill-based, right? We do want to focus a lot on a perspective from the creators. So sometimes you see a lot more gaming comedy videos, right? Maybe there's a lot more commentary that's provided behind the short-form videos, right? And we do think that our role here in TikTok gaming is when we are working with creators is to level up the overall content ecosystem, right, and the quality of content on the platform. Moving on to live, right? And we'll talk a little bit more about live later for sure, right? We do have we are very focused on interactivity on live. So the one thing that you see that's very unique for live versus the other platforms in the space is really the idea that users can interact with the streamers or the creators in a lot more ways and fashion when they're playing the games, right? So that's one key differentiation that I would say that's quite unique for us, and we're quite committed to kind of growing that, right? And you see that later as I continue in the other slides. The third part of it is esports. So for esports, we're partnering with top gaming publishers, right, to bring the esports content onto the platform. And it's not just the big leagues, right? We also support smaller scale competition and leagues as well. And any organization or esports organization is free to actually create their account on TikTok, right? And to host their official competitions on the platform as well. Last but not least, we have Game Link, right, where we connect viewers to a game landing page, right, which integrates with the gaming-related seasonal content and campaigns, right, useful information about the game, like essentially what is the game about, right, how many players can play the game, what's the rating for the game, to entertaining IP-related content, right? So you can just find like the broader media mix of the game brands, right, within that landing page itself. And last but not least, right, it's a community space. So you can find other creators who are creating content using the same IP and brands, right? So we think that this is actually very powerful but understated in making sure that we provide more context to our users, right? And then when it comes to live, right, I think a lot of people are not very familiar, right? I think it's quite common knowledge that short-form videos appear in your For You page as they kind of appear, right, or FYP. Gaming lives also appear in your FYP as well. And what's interesting is that, and you'll see in the video, is that gaming lives, or gaming live specifically, has a specific dedicated entry point, right? That's on the top left of your For You page. And gaming as a category is also quite obvious within the live pages as well. So just take a look very quickly.
Take control of your life.
All right, we're putting 3 large chicken breasts.
But thank you for the bits.
Who's ready for Monopoly?
Only we can play the cheater's version.
Who are you calling a cheater?
I'm Bitch, do I know that other sharp person to you? I don't know what.
Yep. So, I've been talking a lot about live and short-form video and jumping between the two quite a lot, right? And I think this is also quite a unique way of looking at it as well, because as in the past, we've always been talking about creators that are either a live creator or a short-form video creator, right? But in the eyes of the creators themselves, right, they don't really discriminate between either or, right? And I think that how we are operating as a business should reflect the same way as well. And one thing that we see is that for creators that are working on both short-form video and live, we see increased attention, engagement, and overall more time consumed by the users when creators are actually doing both at the same time. Now, it's also quite important to take note that at this point in time, right, it's a lot of investment in as a creator in either one of these, right? And I don't think that we have an ideal world where we can see a creator go live every day, right? At the same time, have resources to be able to create short-form video content on the side. We think that's going to be for creators that are really invested. They have their own teams that are supporting them to do it or have agency support. One thing that we want to say is that it's really more about think about it from an 80-20% rule, right? So we are encouraging creators who are perhaps leaning towards more on live to spend 20% of their time on short-form video, right? And for creators who are spending 80% of the time on short-form video, to perhaps think about 20% of their time allocation to going live. And we do see that this pays off in the end for both types of creators, right? So as you're thinking about your strategies, right, do think about both live and short-form video at the same time when you're thinking of engaging with gaming on TikTok, right? So let's see, what's next? Yep. So at the heart of what we do, we very much focus on creators, right? So when we think about the 3 key stakeholder groups, without a doubt, a lot of our energies are really focused on creators. So what this means is that, to really understand how difficult it is to become a creator, right? And to kind of put yourself in the shoes of the creators. So we know firsthand, right, that being a successful video game creator, or at least, game creator on TikTok is not easy, right? So with every creator that has achieved some fame and success, we have heard of many more creators who have not been successful, right? And they have been facing a lot of obstacles like difficulty finding the right audience, right? To perhaps steep learning curve in content creation, right? To perhaps making insufficient revenue to sustain their everyday life, right? As a creator. And as a result, many creators churn out of that process. So at TikTok Gaming, we're really committed to making that success a little bit easier, right? And we believe that with the right support, right, and the right mechanisms that are set in place, any dedicated gaming creator can be successful on TikTok. right? And we want to build those support systems. So to respond to these issues that I've just mentioned, right, we're focusing on 3 key areas, right? The first is on discoverability, the second is on creative tools, and the third is on monetization. So when it comes to the discoverability point, right, and I think this should not come unfamiliar to everyone here, right? Getting noticed is very crucial for creators, and this is what we do best, right? We have an advanced recommendation algorithm, we have the For You page, and those are engineered to actually help recognize and promote high quality content, right, to the right audience. So this ensures that every creator has the opportunity to get the views and the fans that they deserve, right? So when we focus on content quality and user matching of content quality, versus, let's say, how many fans and followers that one creator has, we are very certain that new creators that are coming in will have the ability to find the right audience, right? And subsequently lead to a more engaged community, right? So cumulatively, if we have a lot of these creators, right, and they are all creating high quality content, TikTok then becomes like a dynamic platform, where new talents are discovered daily, and you have a lot of diverse content, right? So this network effect that is created from this ecosystem then supports other creators in gaining visibility, right? Their community is engaged, and we see the cycle of like growth for the creators, as well as the publishers that are looking to invest in the platform. So let's talk a little about the creative tools, right? So when we think about partnerships, perhaps think about these kind of product offerings that we are focusing on for our creators. So when it comes to the creative tools, right, first we have Live Studio, right, and that's our proprietary streaming software, right, top left-hand side of the slide here. We offer kind of enhanced security, and we have very unique features like live chat, virtual gifting, user CRM solutions, and so on. Right, so CapCut, which is the one right below, the image right below, and is also available as an app, is our comprehensive video editing, right, software, and it's free for all users and allows even novice creators to produce high-quality gaming videos. This also helps grow their fan base and increase traffic, right? And I've been talking a lot about interactivity, right? So the two product offerings that we have in the middle and on the right here are Guessing Game and Gift Voting respectively. For Guessing Game, this allows our creators to engage with their audience through fun, interactive, yes/no questions during their live. And that kind of adds like a playful element for the streamer and the user, right? And on the right, for gift voting, it takes that interactivity further because it enables viewers to use virtual gifts to vote on various aspects of the content that's being presented, right? So as a user, you can gift to influence the content decisions of the streamer, and this essentially kind of adds to this viewer involvement, right? And of course, from a creator's perspective, like it increases monetization potential as well, right? Because every single every single vote is a gift, right? And I do think there's a lot more that's building that I can't share today, and maybe in the future when you see me, you'll probably hear a little bit more. We are focusing on a lot more interactivity in terms of our tools, right? So the key here is about making sure that we are reducing friction for creators to interact with the audiences, and perhaps increasing more incentives, right, for our users to be able to interact with not only the creators themselves, but also with the users. And I think one thing that's also very exciting that we're seeing that's a trend right now is creators interacting with other creators on stream, right? So how do we continue to advance that, right? That will be for future sharing. And the last point that we are focusing on is on creator monetization. So for creator monetization, we know that helping the creators earn from that passion is quite critical. So we're just identifying key points within that creator journey that helps with their monetization. So there are a few options. The first one is virtual gifting, right? And this allows fans to support their favorite creators directly. The second one would be the subscription model, right? And it's quite straightforward, which provides a steady income, right? The third is our gaming incentive program, and this is relatively new, right, where publishers can provide monetary incentives on the platform, centering around the gaming brands, right? So, and this essentially compensates the creators based on the user views and interactions via the gaming link, right? So the game link on the side is how the user actually looks at it, right? It looks at or participates in the gaming incentive program, right? So it's a direct call to action there, and this can be set up through the gaming incentive program by the publishers. And this is also very easily assessed on the platform that you can, I think you can see that in the next video. Let's see this, here we go. No, it's gonna be a video later, right? But you can see the user interface a little bit later. And it is actually easily accessible as a creator, right? When we click on the monetization options within the TikTok app itself. With regards to publishers, right? I think the two key themes here that I would like to highlight is this idea of, co-building community and co-developing creators, right? And I think this is quite critical for us to just kind of focus our energies around. So just to share a little bit more of that, right? For the first point on co-building community, right? It's all about content creation, right? With the publisher, right? So when we think about this, some keywords will come to mind like temples, right? So content temples. How can we work with publishers to think about content temples that we can rally content creation around, right? And for users to actually create content on the brands that the gaming publishers want to focus on, right? So that's really an organic push on the publisher side, right? Which paired with the paid push, right, together with the Global Business Solutions team, right, we think that this is actually going to be very incredibly powerful, right, in sustaining that community around either new titles that the publishers are launching, right, or everyone is hyped up about, or games that essentially have a new additional updates. The next point is really about publishers co-developing creators, and this is incredibly important for us, right? So a lot of our energies right now are really focusing on working with publishers and platforms to create and sustain new creators on the platform, right? So we have easy-to-use tools and programs that will work with partners like yourselves in this room to make sure that we are able to reduce that friction point for creators to come onto the platform and for creators to continue being incentivized to stay on the platform, right? So we do think that when you focus on creators, this actually pays dividends in the long term, because this is kind of like a deviation away from what is traditionally accepted as performance marketing, right? And we do think that building a brand and community around your titles will actually be more efficient, right, in the long run versus performance marketing campaigns. So to that end, we have 3 key products, right? So landing page on the far left here, right? We have the gaming incentive program, as I mentioned before, and we have game rewards, right? So to walk through very quickly on each of these products, for the landing page, it's essentially the game information page, right? And there are a lot of call to actions that can be designed on that page itself. Right, for the game incentive program, as I mentioned, it's an incentive program that is set by the publisher, and creators can essentially apply, right, for those programs. And based on the content engagement, based on the content that's created by the creator and the engagement on the content, they'll be rewarded accordingly. And last but not least, game rewards. They're set up by the publisher via lives, right? And as a user, you'll be able to engage through specific actions set by the publisher, right? To be able to perhaps get more in-game items or loot, right? And this is something that we can discuss with the publisher or partner. Yep. So just to do a little bit of a deep dive, to do a deep dive on this very quickly on game rewards, right? When we participate in game rewards, there are twice the engagement rate, or when people participate, there's twice the engagement rate, right? And we do see a 180% increase in unique viewers. So I think that there should be a video. Here you go. Yeah. This is how it looks like.
Send one like, I'm gonna do it. She gonna do it, chat. One like. Just have this. No, I couldn't see him at all.
3 days
I'm they playing Feed Me Daddy. I got you.
Yeah. Here's another video to kind of elaborate a little bit about game rewards, right? So when you think about tasks that the publisher sets for the users, right, there are comment type tasks, share type tasks, as well as watch type tasks, right? So these are some examples, and of course you can build more types of tasks in place, right? So when we were working in Minecraft, this is an example of how it kind of looks like.
Club Tower. Let me show you guys if you haven't seen it. I've been in here working on this point. Yeah, dude, chat picked out this one for me today. It's looking great.
Yep. And the next deep dive that I want to go into is the gaming incentive program, right? And we think that the value for the publisher is three key points from there. Like the first one is really about increasing the brand exposure, right, through creators of all types, right? So it's not just like a specific creator in a model where you just hunt for your favorite creator and have that creator create specific content over a period of time. We do think that this increases exposure to more creator sets, right? And secondly, we allow the creators to kind of monetize the gaming content. So they're already creating content, right, on the platform. So around this game, so why not allow them to monetize on the content that they're already talking about? And last but not least, when it comes to the publishers, right, it helps drives installs, right, and downloads for them. And it's pretty straightforward on that particular point. Right, we do also have a gaming incentive program for live, right? And what this means is that users can then essentially click on I'd say, anchor that pops up, right? So this is probably how it looks like. Yeah, so this is currently still in beta, right? But the general idea here is that with live specifically, we are able to go straight to the store, right? So I think that that's something that a lot of the mobile partners right now are really interested in testing that out. So that's something that hopefully in future we can actually share more updates on this particular product feature. Yeah. So in terms of bringing it all together, what does this mean? I bring up Minecraft again, right? Just because like Minecraft has been kind of leading the way in terms of trying to get the full package, right? And understanding that it is not just working on one particular product feature that will move the needle, but rather focusing on a suite of available tools and campaigns that we have on our platform, right? So, I've mentioned quite a few different products already, right? But when you bring it all together from a paid standpoint as well as an organic standpoint together with our global business solutions team, right? You'll be able to see like a much more meaningful push, right, and increase engagement. So some of the examples on how we work together with Minecraft would include like the live landing page, right? We feature some of the live creators that are engaging on Minecraft themselves, right? Some of the engagement gifts, right? We have strong creator collaborations, not just the creators for live alone, but for short form video as well, right? There are branded search hubs, community hashtags, and profile frames that users can actually earn. Right, so it's a much larger push, and I really encourage a lot of partners here to really think about like what would a much more cohesive strategy look like on the platform. In terms of like how we are unique, right? I do think that there are three key points that I want to share, right? The first one is that we have countless games that appeal to players, right? And the one thing here is that discoverability of new titles is quite important, right? And for me myself, I discover a lot of new games to play on the platform as I'm scrolling. And usually it's like the first place that I discover about new games before it becomes really, really popular, because usually right now, a lot of where the trends are at is really at the content creators, right? So for me, following content creators, I understand where games will become more popular or how games will become popular just by watching their content first, right? And I get to really discover old titles as well, right? So it's not just games that are new, but titles as well that I might have played in the past, but because some creators have actually decided to play it again, I'm rediscovering them again, right? So to that end, we do believe that large and small publishers have the same chance on the platform, right? And when we think about like the overall the long tail all the way to the short tail of our ecosystem, like we do have a lot of indie studio publishers as well that are deciding to just create their own account, reach out to their audiences, right, on the platform as well, right? So that's a very unique thing about our platform. And when we think about the second point, we focus really a lot on interactivity and engagement, right, as the core of our product and operations. So as you hear me mention this over and over again, right, a lot of how we're thinking about even operations, it's really around thinking about how can we increase the engagement between creators and users, and even between users, right, on the platform. And we're very committed to this particular goal more than anyone else. And last but not least, on the third point, right here, it's really about building communities with long-lasting impact, right? So as I mentioned, a lot of the thinking right now these days when it comes to community building and marketing, it's really about that short-term impact, right? It's really about how can I drive performance in the best way possible, what's the ROI, right, on this particular campaign. And we do think that we want to be able to create tools and operations which allow us to build for longer impact or longer lasting impact through community building, right? So we do think that when we develop creators, right, and we encourage that connectivity between publishers and creators a lot more, the content that's being created, right, through the fandom of these creators on the gaming brands with the publishers will have a much larger, longer-term impact, right? And that's what we're trying to push a lot of the partners here, and I think for you guys in the room as well, to really think about, right? So in terms of what to do next, right, I think you might hear me say this a few times already throughout this entire presentation, right? The first one is just to really unify your thoughts around your strategies around short form and live, right? To not see them as siloed entities, right? Not to have separate strategies for both of them for gaming, but rather think of them as this circular loop, right, that feeds into each other, right? So as you're thinking about short-form content for gaming on TikTok, think about also what your live strategies would be, and vice versa, right? The second point here is really think about incorporating some of these gaming products into your pipeline, right? So 2025 will be a really exciting year for us, right, as we start ramping up these products, as we start making them more scalable and addressable to the masses, right? What we do think that is important is to not just also look at products in its own, like individual products, right? But to think about the various products together with some of the organic practices that we can share, right? To build this cohesive package, right? And we do think that actually is much more effective than just the sum of its parts, right? So the last part is really more about an organic and paid strategy. So one thing that we've noticed, right, through our operations is that a lot of partners want to think about, and publishers think about, about their approach on TikTok as both organic and paid as separate, right? And we have been making a lot of effort in trying to make sure that there is an organic and paid strategy, right? And what this means is that not only just focusing on building your communities, building the creators, right, investing in creators, but also think about what a paid strategy would be, right? So and our global business solutions team will speak to that suite of products that they have, right, from a sales standpoint. But we think that having that thought together actually pays off, right? And these are some numbers to kind of show it, right? On the left, right, we do see an overall increase in brand recall if you do paid and organic, right? And similarly, when it comes to user attention to branding at the end of the day, right, there's an increased attention to branding when both of them are done together, right? So we do really encourage everyone here to think of that particular strategy. So yeah, that's it for today. I've left my name, my email at the bottom, right? Really, really excited, right, to grow gaming on TikTok, and very happy to also, kind of brainstorm new ideas with everyone here in this room, right, on how can we actually help you achieve your success, right, through TikTok, right? So thank you so much for your time today. Yeah.